Hi, I'm Dana, and today I'm going to take an online test to find out if I'm really autistic. Obviously, online tests are not known to be the most accurate of things. I mean, BuzzFeed telling me that my perfect sandwich is a panini does not make a panini my favourite sandwich. However, there's a lot of people that don't have access to diagnoses. They can't find out for sure from a medical professional if they're really autistic, and they got to figure it out themselves. And if I'd been in that position, I absolutely at some point would have been Googling am I autistic and found a quiz and then felt really emotional about whatever result it gave me. So I thought it'd be an interesting sort of little half hour or so for me. Don't worry, this video hopefully isn't going to be half an hour long. If we just ask someone who's been formally medically diagnosed as being autistic, let's find out what the internet thinks. I've literally Googled, am I autistic test? And we're going to go on this very first one. Take our quick autism test. Might try a couple depending on how quick these are. I don't know. I'm just going to get straight into it though. I don't think this video needs a load of me waffling. Question 1. I prefer to do things on my own rather than with others. Definitely agree. I prefer doing things the same way. For instance, my morning routine or a trip to the supermarket. Yes. I find myself becoming strongly absorbed in something, even obsessional. This is a great time for me to plug that I recently made a video becoming the main character of my favourite TV show. It'll be linked if you want to go see it. I'm very sensitive to noise and will wear earplugs or cover my ears in certain situations. Yes. I can't stand sirens and alarms and stuff now, even as an adult. If an ambulance or whatever goes past, I cover my ears. I really cannot do it. Sometimes people say I'm being rude, even though I think, all the time. I find it easy to imagine what characters will. Yep. I find it easy to... I don't even find it easy to talk when I'm thinking about groups of people. That's a strong disagree. I'm more interested in finding out about things than people. I slightly agree. I do. It takes a certain kind of person for me to enjoy being around someone, but they exist. I find numbers, dates and strings of information fascinating. I'm going to say slightly agree because I don't find numbers or dates particularly fascinating and I don't have the memory for numbers or dates. But strings of information, I make them up myself and they're mostly focused around TV shows or books or movies. But yeah, I prefer non-fiction books and films to fiction. I wish there was just a middle ground, I like both. I'd say I prefer fiction, so... I find it upsetting of my daily routine. Yes, if anything happens, I'm upset. It's difficult for me to understand. Yes, I don't get facial expressions very often, unless they're very, very obvious. And I also don't look at people's faces very often because I hate to make eye contact. So I often don't even see the facial expression to be able to recognise it. And when I am looking, in movies and TV shows, I'll say to my boyfriend, did you see how devastated she looked? And he'll be like, she looked confused. And then we have to sit there and decide which autistic person's right about a facial expression. But yeah, and I brought that up because I also realised I don't bloody know what my own face is doing a lot of the time. So that's fun. I don't have any problems making small talk with new people. I don't even do small talk with people I know. I notice very small changes in a person's appearance. No! When I was younger, I used to play lots of Let's Pretend or Imaginary constantly. That was all I did as a child a lot of the time. I like collecting information about things I'm interested in. I like meeting new people. People close to me say I talk about the same things repeatedly. They don't outright say it because they know I'll get upset, but sometimes I'll bring something up that I enjoy. And I can see on their faces that they're just zoning out. I don't know how they feel about it. I don't know if they're annoyed or if they're fine with it, but I know that they're not paying attention. So that's definitely a agree. I find it easy to work out what people are thinking or feeling just by, no. New social situations make me feel anxious, yes. It's important for me to carefully plan any activities I'm going to do. I'm going to say slightly agree because I like to have a plan, but I don't time anything. I'd say I wouldn't For example, like there's a group chat I'm in where they've recently been planning a trip together, and they came up with the full, like, from this time to this time we're doing this, and from this time to this time we're doing this. And obviously it's also that it's a group, so it's necessary. But like, I might come up with my list of like, these are things I want to do, but I wouldn't like time them and that, which I feel is like what it means with carefully planned. So I'm going to say slightly agree. Find it hard to work out what people's intentions are. I got fucked over a few months ago by someone that I worked for free for 2 years. So that's a definitely agree. I would find it really hard to play imaginary games with children. If this ain't the autism, the phrasing of the question, I'm like, do they mean me now or when I was a child? Because when I was a child, not at all. But now I don't really know what I'm meant to do around children or how I'm meant to behave or what they need or what they do. So I'm going to say slightly disagree. I'm a good diplomat and can help ease difficult social or work situations. I'm going to say slightly agree, because I do think I'm quite diplomatic, but it really has to be the right situation with the right people. Otherwise I'll just sit there and watch it descend into chaos. I'm often the last person to understand a joke. You know, I really disagree. I don't think that my autism particularly affects my humour or how I pick up on jokes. I'm not sure. Like, there's a lot of jokes my boyfriend makes that I don't laugh at, but I can tell it's a joke. I just don't think it's funny. But I don't think it's that I don't understand that it's a joke. You know, there's a lot of jokes I really don't find funny, but it doesn't mean I don't get them. Slightly disagree, I guess. I like doing things spontaneously. See, this is slightly disagree because sometimes me and my partner will just decide that we're going to go on a walk, we're going to watch a movie, we're going to like put pillows on the floor and watch a movie on the floor. So I'm saying slightly disagree, but I do feel like that's only come around because of lockdown, so we needed something else, you know? If I'm interrupted doing something, I find it hard to get back to what I was doing beforehand. Definitely agree. It's tough. I notice patterns and things all the time. Slightly agree. More so when I was a child. I feel like maybe I just don't pay as much attention now, I don't know. I have some very strong interests and get upset if I can't pursue them. Definitely agree. I've never been the person that films myself crying. Like, I just don't think to pick up my phone when I'm having a cry, you know. But I really wish I could cut to footage of me just like fucking sobbing because Ashes to Ashes got taken off Netflix. So that's definitely agree. I can tell if someone I'm talking to is getting bored. Definitely disagree. Like I said before, I don't know if my family are bored of me or not. Okay. The results indicate that you have a strong likelihood of Asperger's syndrome or autism. The same thing, just call it autism. Asperger's syndrome is a really outdated term that came from a Nazi who was also, I was going to point out that he was sexist and racist, but he was a Nazi. So your score suggests you experience many or all of the most common traits experienced by those with autism spectrum disorder. It's nice that there is a little section at the end about going for a formal diagnosis and the like, but it's still a little, it's an online test, my dude. But it gave me a score of 23 out of 30. So 23 of my answers were autistic, apparently. So we're gonna go back. And I think let's just go for the next one, I suppose. So this next one's got 17 questions. This free autism test was adapted from the Autism Spectrum Screening Questionnaire, designed to screen the possibility of ASD and is for personal use only. This is not a diagnostic tool. I mean, at least they're disclosing it, so I can't really shit all over them. Did bullies target you in grade school? Very often. I didn't go to like grade school because I'm in the UK, but primary school and high school I got not nice times given to me. People say that you speak like a robot. Rarely. But I do put effort into that. Especially in videos, like when I'm tired or anything in real life, when I've been in work situations and like I've been told like you speak so monotonously. But on the day-to-day when I'm doing okay, I put a lot of effort into not, so I don't get told that a lot. Do you talk to friends at a party the same you would talk to co-workers in the office? What does that even mean? Do you talk to... I think one of my issues is that I very much struggle to distinguish between like different relationships. So if I'm like friends with you in work, I just assume that we're friends and not like in work friends or whatever. That's a struggle of mine. So I'm gonna say sometimes the way they're phrasing these questions is really difficult. Are expressions like curiosity killed the cat or don't count your chickens before they hatch odd to you? Yeah, but I still understand them. I feel like so often they want to know, like, do you think the phrase curiosity killed the cat means that curiosity literally murdered a cat? And it's like, well, no, I'm not an idiot, but I do think they're odd phrases. I don't understand how they came around or why they're still in use in modern vernacular. So, yeah. Do you enjoy inventing your own words and expressions that might seem quirky to others? I'm going to say very often, because words, not so much. I mean, me and my partner have a lot of expressions and mixtures of words that we use to each other in a way that I'm only just now realising is kind of like we've made our own little weird language. So yes, very often. Have you always wanted a best friend but never found one? I'm going to say often, because I have always wanted a best friend, yes. But it's not that I've never found one, it's just the ones that I have had where we've like grown apart or fallen out or blah blah. So I'm going to say often, because it's not like all the time, but I do have lengthy areas of time between best friends. You have trouble understanding what people mean when they say they feel embarrassed for someone else. Never, because I experienced secondhand anxiety like a motherfucker. I could not watch the US Office. It made me feel physically sick. I don't feel like that's a good question to judge someone's autism, because so many of us have like hyper empathy instead of no empathy. So I feel like this is kind of a shit test. Sorry. Do you prefer to read non-fiction books over fiction books? Sometimes. At least they give me the right answer for this question. Is your memory like a steel trap, even for facts you don't fully understand? No, rarely. I wouldn't say never, because it is like a steel trap, as they say, for like bands and TV shows and the things I enjoy. But for like facts I don't fully understand, no. Your family members lovingly refer to you as the eccentric professor of the family. Not in that terminology, but yeah, in other words. When you're having a conversation with someone, do you prefer to look at the wall, their shoes, or anywhere but directly into their eyes? Yes, very often. Are you always the first one to notice when a friend has gotten a haircut or made a small change to their appearance? No, never. I don't notice unless you tell me. I'm sorry. I'm sure it looks fabulous, and once you tell me, I'll make a comment and tell you how great it looks, but I'm not going to notice it on my own half the time. Even when you're in a quiet place like the library, do you find yourself making involuntary noises like clearing your... Is that an autism thing? Throughout high school and college, I experienced this so badly, because I would have to cough or clear my throat. But then I got anxious about doing that, so by the time I got around to actually doing it, it was like a full-ass, like, barking cough. I didn't know that was like an autism thing. Are you always bumping into things or tripping over your own feet? I'm covered in bruises and I don't know where any of them are from. Do you prefer to play individual games and sports like golf, where everyone works for themselves, instead of team sports and games where everyone works towards a common goal? I'm gonna say often, because when I've played team sports with people that I really liked, like I used to go to a drama and like musical theatre summer school, and they'd have us do like ice breaking games and stuff. And because we were all like such similar people, I really enjoyed them. It's just that so often I'm not treated like part of the team, so that's not much fun. But when I'm treated like part of the team and can actually work with them, and it's great. Are you really good at a skill like math or music but struggle to succeed in other areas? Rarely. I would not say that I'm like particularly like over talented at anything. I was gonna say I'm a jack of all trades, but that's not really true either. I'm vaguely good at a handful of things, and everything else is a complete struggle. So I would not say that I'm really good at any specific area. And I struggle to succeed in most areas outside of the ones that interest me. But I'm putting the work in to succeed in the others. I'm not just like naturally talented or really good at it. I'm just trying my best. I think that's a very stereotypical question for people like fucking Sheldon Cooper. Think about your daily routine. Would you say you follow the same schedule every day of the week and don't like unexpected events? Yes. So we'll submit that. I scored 49 out of 68 on this one. The higher the point total, the greater likelihood that you show signs of autism spectrum disorder. Please share and review these results with your medical provider, the attitude team, has also suggested next steps and further reading below. Your score 49 out of 68. The higher the point total, the greater likelihood that you show signs of autism spectrum disorder. So again, that thinks I'm autistic. We're gonna do one more just to get it over with, a nice trio. If this isn't, oh, it's not like, I mean, it's 50 questions, but I don't feel like it's ridiculously long. We can get through it fast enough. For each statement below, choose one response that best describes how strongly the statement applies to you. I prefer to do things with others rather than on my own. Definitely disagree. I prefer to do things the same way over and over again. Definitely agree. If I try to imagine something, I find it very easy to create a picture in my mind. I'm going to just read out the questions and press the button. I don't feel like there's, like, unless it's an interesting question again, in which case I'll go into more depth. But otherwise, I don't feel like there's any point me telling you what you can see. I frequently get so strongly absorbed in one thing that I lose sight of other things. I often notice small sounds when others do not. Man, the lights in school. I'll be talking about that until the day I fucking die, because everyone else swore to God that they couldn't hear it. It drove me up the wall. I usually notice car number plates or similar strings of information. Kinda. Like, I drove to Epping with my brother yesterday, and there were definitely quite a few number plates that I noticed for some reason, so other people frequently tell me what I've said is impolite, even though I think it's polite. When I'm reading a story, I can easily imagine what the characters might look like. I'm fascinated by dates. Nah. In a social group, I can easily keep track of several different people's conversations. I mean, I'll slightly agree, because I do keep track of them, but I'm not a part of them. I find social situations easy, not a chance. I tend to notice details that others do not. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd rather go to a library than a party. I find making up stories easy. I find myself drawn more strongly to people than to things. Depends on the person, slightly disagree. I tend to have very strong interests which I get upset if I can't pursue. I enjoy social chit-chat. Massive! When I talk, it isn't always easy for others to get a word in edgewise. I'm gonna say slightly agree, because I think that can be the case sometimes around like my family or really close friends or my boyfriend. But in most social situations, I don't say an awful lot. I tend to just keep quiet because I'm anxious and I'm awkward. So that's a slightly agree. I'm fascinated by numbers. No, that's not one for me. When I'm reading a story, I find it difficult to work out the character's intentions. Slightly agree. Because sometimes I can straight up see the evidence going, but more often than not, especially with things I don't watch as often, like I know where sci-fi's headed, I know where horror's going, but with other things I can find it really difficult. I don't particularly enjoy reading fiction, absolutely disagree, I love fiction. I find it hard to make new friends. I notice patterns and things all the time, again slightly agree for the reason before. I'd rather go to the theatre than to a museum. Slightly agree. See, this is when my mind starts going into like the real life situation. It's like, well, no, I'd rather go to a museum because I have like £30 for a theatre ticket. But if someone else was going to pay for me, then I'd much rather go to the theatre. I love the theatre. So that's why I'm going with slightly agree, I suppose. It does not upset me if my daily routine is disturbed. Now, it sends me. I frequently find that I don't know how to keep a conversation going. One of my main struggles in life is continuing a conversation. I've got kind of good at starting them. Don't know how to keep them going. I find it easy to read between the lines when someone is talking to me. No, I usually concentrate more on the whole picture rather than on the small details. Slightly agree, because I do try to, but that's not where my brain automatically heads. I'm not very good at remembering phone numbers. Slightly agree. I don't usually notice small changes in a situation or a person's appearance. Definitely agree. I know how to tell if someone listening to me is getting bored. No. Are you? I find it easy to do more than one thing at once. Yes, very much so. I prefer to do more than one thing at once. I find it much easier to keep my focus on like a thing or two things, then just the one. Like, I probably wouldn't be taking this quiz as seriously or being able to like focus on it as much if it weren't I'm also filming. I talk on the phone, I'm not sure when it's my turn to speak. Yeah, I hate talking on the phone. I've had a very exciting opportunity offered to me by someone that I like know from a little while ago. I need to do a phone call with him tomorrow and I'm bricking it. I don't want to do it. I enjoy doing things spontaneously. Again, slightly agree. I'm often asked to understand the point of a joke. Slightly disagree. I find it easy to work out what someone is thinking or feeling just by looking at their face. No. If there was an interruption, I can switch back to what I was doing very quickly. I wouldn't fully agree then. No, I cannot. No. I'm good at social chit-chat. Why do they all use that? Chit-chat. People often tell me that I'm going on and on about the same thing. Again, slightly agree, because I'm pretty sure I do. But none of the people I have around me are rude enough or mean enough to tell me that. When I was younger, I used to enjoy playing games involving pretending with other children. Yes. I used to also get really pissy and be like, no, you're not doing it right. We need to play it like this. And then I'd end up playing on my own because who the fuck wants to play with that kid? But I did enjoy it. I like to collect information about categories of things, examples, type of cars, birds, trains, plants. Yeah, none of the examples they gave apply to me, but yeah. I find it difficult to imagine what it would be like to be someone else. I think I've spent so much time wishing I was someone else that sometimes I think it's really easy. But when I actually try to like imagine being someone else and living a different life and having different people around me, no. I like to carefully plan any activities I participate in. I enjoy social occasions. I mean, I try to, and I have enjoyed some. It's just that they're so tiring and anxiety-inducing. I find it difficult to work out people's intentions. New situations make me anxious. I enjoy meeting new people. I'm a good diplomat, slightly agree again. I'm not very good at remembering people's date of birth. No, I cannot do it. I find it very easy to play games with children that involve pretending. Again, like now, or slightly disagree, whatever, fuck it. Your score was 33 out of a possible 50. Scores in the 33 to 50 range indicate significant autistic traits. Concerned about your score? Chat online with a licensed therapist. We saw how that went for me last time. If you didn't see how it went when I finally got a therapist to try and conquer my anxiety, I'll link that video here too. So some end thoughts for that. My first thought is that the questions they ask are awfully stereotypical. Autism isn't all about numbers or trains, you know? I just really wish that they'd broadened the phrasing of the questions really more than the actual questions themselves. I think the things that like the subtext of what they're asking is like accurate and necessary, but the way they're asking it I don't think is great. And alongside that, I think a lot of the questions, if you're actually autistic, are kind of really hard to understand. It's kind of hard to know what they're fully asking you and what you should reply with. So there's that. My second thought on these would be that although obviously it was accurate for me, I am autistic, and they all said that there was a high chance of me being autistic, I also think that a lot of people with other mental health issues and other neurodiversities would get very similar results to me. You know, like I can think of several people I know that have ADHD or anxiety who would also get told that they're autistic despite not really having any autistic traits outside of the ones that are shared between autism and ADHD or autism and anxiety. And I think there's a lot of people with a lot of mental health conditions and with a lot of neurodiversities who would score as being autistic even though they're maybe not. However, that being said, for autistic people that are in a situation where they can't get a formal diagnosis, if this at all helps to like settle their minds or help them to feel better, which I think it would, I kind of don't have an issue with it. When self-diagnosing, I think it is important to truly self-reflect and figure out if you really are autistic. But it's not up to me to tell someone how to do that or when to do that or what way they should do it. And if someone wants to do it by doing these tests and reaffirming to themselves that they do show traits, I think that's probably a good thing. Like, I just want autistic people to be happy, and that includes the self-diagnosed people that are within our community. So if these quizzes help anyone, I don't think they're a bad thing. So I think for those questioning their autism, this could be really useful. And, you know, for me, having had a formal diagnosis and already being very certain of myself, it was sort of just a bit of fun. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, it'd be great if you wanted to like and subscribe. It's up to you. That's why I put it at the end. You've at least seen what I've got to offer now. So I don't think I have anything more to say about it. There might be a little more in the description, I'm not sure. But for now, whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you have a lovely day, morning, evening, afternoon, week, month, year, whatever you're doing. I hope it's all great. And I'll see you in a few days.